most people are a little bit scared of innovation. Innovation is risky. It's risky for the business, and that's the part that we avow to embrace. But it is risky for the individual employee too. We, all of us, have a status quo bias that leads us to preserve our current situation, even when it is against our interests to do so. Denying the existence of that bias won't make it go away. I was just watching a documentary about Pompeii, and a scientist was saying that this status quo bias is what led so many people to shelter in place after the eruption of Vesuvius, when in reality they should have hot-footed it out of there. Can we make puns about Pompeii yet? I feel like the statute of limitations has expired on that one. In spite of what the business slogans would have you believe, with things like disrupt or die, no such fate awaits us if we don't build an AR app or whatever. You can just ignore the metaverse and I think you'll be fine. Nonetheless, the same part of our brain lights up when we feel under threat, whether that is from a volcano or a buzzword. It's actually true, and although innovation is supposed to be some powerful, life-giving force, it also creates a deep sense of uncertainty. So, a little tip. To get people on board with innovation, encourage them to be part of the change, to see the problems that they're trying to resolve. Show them why it's important and make them feel how they can contribute and what the change feels like. Pretty significantly, call it something else. Maybe calling it innovation leads people to think of risk, and that's not something we actually like. Harvard Business Review noted, I believe correctly, in 2020, a tolerance for failure requires having extremely competent people. Because every so often, you need them to succeed to make the whole adventure worthwhile. And when they do fail, you need to make sure that they learn from the experience. There must be structure to innovation, led by people who can weigh up initiatives to see which are actually worth testing and which ones are actually working. I have run a few innovation workshops in my time. Oh, don't worry about that. And the attendees are often surprised at how many creative ideas they can generate when given the space to do so. Now, a good workshop conductor will do that naturally, but in reality, this is the easy part. Given time to focus, people will come up with lots of new proposals. Seeing them through is the real trick. The judicious application of constraints can aid creativity. Of the companies on the Fortune 500 list in 2020, only 17 were founded after 1995. I had to double check that when I found it because it goes against everything we hear today. Now, there are, of course, plenty of other successes beyond that very top tier, these so-called unicorns with a valuation of over $1 billion that are privately held. But let's just put them in perspective by looking at the big 5 tech companies alongside all of the unicorns today. The big tech market caps have fallen of late, but you can still add just 2 of them and already dwarf the collective valuations of all 981 unicorns. These are still impressive growth stories, of course, and the companies do innovate, but I would posit that they do so under the watchful eyes of big tech. In fact, they use AWS and Microsoft Azure, then they throw money at Google, Amazon, or Facebook ads to attract customers. Big tech always extracts its rent, and then it can buy or squash any threats should they grow a little bit too much, or in Facebook's case, just copy them. This means that the big tech companies enjoy what we could call vicarious innovation. Their influence over the market is so extensive that they can kick back like a Roman emperor at the Colosseum and just watch the competition fight it out. Sign up for a little bit more of this sort of thing on high tech. Thank you.